Last night I made a hat. This is the dome and the CN Tower. It's a Toronto hat, but it also looks like Napoleon, so I just thought I would show you my new hat. What do you think? You think it would go? We'll talk to them at the dome and see.
We are sending ours via lines from our control room, which we built up in the back there, down to a satellite truck, which then gets beamed up to the high band, which is a Annex C2 satellite. And that link is, funny enough, it's only to get down to Adelaide Street. We're sending a signal 44,000 miles just to get from the Science Centre to Adelaide Street. From Adelaide Street, it gets converted to digital, and it is sent microwave across the lake over into Buffalo. Buffalo, it's relayed via fiber optics into New York City. In New York City, it gets converted to CCAM, which is the television standard of the French, and gets sent up on the Intelsat, the international satellite.
My name is Marshall Holmes. I'm with Telecom Canada, and I'm here today to witness the Transatlantic Interactivity session. I worked along with Derek to help supply some of the network capabilities that are pulling this thing off today. There's really three key carriers involved: France Telecom, US Sprint, and Telecom Canada. They're supplying a service which is called Video Forum in Canada, and that supplies the link that gets us to France today.
It's brought down in Rabelais in France, fed via some kind of terrestrial system in France into Paris, and then into the room in Paris, and converted back to NTSC from digital.
Okay, and it's actually possible for people in France to jam with people in
Yes,
Toronto.
we will be sending both sound and picture both ways simultaneously. We've got monitors set up on the floor so people can see the signal from France. They will see the signal from either have France, or we will create a split screen, which is where people will actually be able to reach out and touch each other.
Example of one. You may recognize the lady in question. This will take two. With deluxe paint, it'll take two. This is Molly Johnson. We did a big painting of her, and she's the singer. But again, you want to play her. Oh, there's my. I forgot to take my head out, and there it just showed up in the background. Just to keep you entertained, we're doing our best. David Rokeby is going to do something for us. David?
Yeah, we're just going to do, to keep everything going, a simple, what we would call locally interactive performance here with our dancer Rashida Blake. dancing in the space and essentially composing music using her body. These are cameras, these little boxes here that are going to be looking at her movements and speaking to a computer over there. That computer is speaking to a synthesizer, and that's essentially what's happening.
Mandala is a performance piece of software that lets the performer mix with graphic images and actually play drums in an artificial atmosphere. So if somebody is standing up on a black background, let's say, you'll have a graphic in front of him, which might be a drum, and just by waving his arm into the drum, he can trigger the drum. It controls synthesizers, etc. So what we'll be seeing is Vincent in Paris triggering drums, etc., playing with the band here.
How did Derek get Paris involved in this? Richard, can you answer that one? How did this happen with Paris? How did this hookup happen with this group in Paris?
Gee whiz. There's a long history, of course, of this this kind of activity. Derek de Kerkhoff being a leader in the field through the Marshall McLuhan Center, and of course Keith Holding and Tom O'Donnell have been experimenting with it for several years. This is a dream of a lot of people that they're trying to pull together. Technology doesn't want to play with us today, it seems. But it's certainly been a long process, and the configuration and camaraderie that's been born here is something that I think will continue to stimulate us.
You can start talking now, okay?
Hello. I understand that everybody can hear me. This is Eric de Kerkhoff. I have to apologize for this disappointment, which is shared by now probably more than 800 people. However, I have to say that one of the things that we wanted to accomplish here was to create an emotion. And I think that in spite of the failure of the connection, the emotion has been real, shared by a lot of people here who really have enjoyed themselves in spite of the failure of the technical dimension. We showed a number of the pieces and presented some of them that we wanted to show interactively. A few of them were locally interactive and were very successful. I hear that Charlie Factor has done a marvelous job at making the same thing as I did here on the other side. I am terribly sorry that to have to say that even now we can't have a connection because the French side now is gone to bed. I'm talking here about a technician and the whole video conferencing unit on the French side. And so I would like to thank you all very, very much for having been there, and my students particularly. And I just hope that maybe there'll be another time. Thank you, and good night from Paris at 22 hours and 39.
I'm going to start off now with a tune, and you'll forgive me because we haven't had a chance to run it down. This thing is called a lead sheet, and we faxed this to the musicians. We're going to do a tune by Mike Murley, who's a great Canadian jazz musician, called New Dreams.
We're just trying to set up a shot of her painting, get a nice shot of the painting itself. And I'm going to operate on it, and I'll play on it a little bit, and we'll see what else happens.
Yeah, what I'm doing is going to be fed into Buffy Sainte-Marie's computer, and she's going to be playing with the images as I'm painting them. And then I will be able to see what Buffy has done with my image, and then I'll be able to respond on the surface that I'm working on here, and so forth, and back and forth.
So you're just getting started, so we'll give you a few minutes, or
No, we're just grabbing it from
right.
wherever it is. Where is it?
This is from York University. That's right.